recording this hearing so that people can view it on YouTube. It just takes a moment. Let me mute that. All right, Mr. Brooks, I have your attorney, Thomas Florio. He's here on the Zoom. Can you see him?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so this is your first appearance hearing. I want to advise you of what you're charged with. You're charged with family violence battery. You have no bond on that charge because you're currently on 12 months probation in Clayton County State Courts. You have a special condition to stay away and have no contact with Tashada Steed, and also not to violate any laws while you are out on bond. You are also charged with cruelty to children in the 3rd degree. Your bond amount on that charge is $2,500. And Mr. Florio, do you waive the formal reading of the charges, or do you want them read?
We waive that, Your Honor.
Okay. And what about the preliminary hearing? For misdemeanors, it is set for July 28th, or do you want to waive that?
Judge, if we could keep it because we are on probation and there is a probation hold.
Okay, so we'll keep it. The preliminary hearing will be set for July 28th at 8 o'clock in courtroom 203.
Thank you, Your Honor.
And Mr. Florio, if you don't have anything additional, you can be excused.
Thank you very much, Your Honor. Have a good weekend, Judge.
All right, you too, you as well.
Thank you,
and
Your Honor.
Mr. Brooks,
Thank
you can be excused and go back with the deputy. Thank you, sir.
All right.
All right.
Thank you.
All right, good morning. I'm Judge Salvia Smith Fox. I'm here to conduct your first appearance hearings this morning, June 20th, 2020, here in Clayton County Magistrate Court. Let me have all of the defendants please raise your right hand. Do you swear or affirm that the information you provided on your application of counsel is true and correct? If so, say I do.
I do.
All right, thank you. Everyone can take your hand down. Want to advise you of the nature of these proceedings. I'm not here to try your case or to take a plea in your case. I am here for the court to inform you of the charges against you, advise you of certain rights, set bail on those offenses for which this court is authorized to set bail, schedule a preliminary hearing, and to determine whether you require the assistance of an attorney. You have the right to remain silent and say nothing, but should you give up this right, anything you say during this proceeding may be used against you if this case goes to trial. During this and all other proceedings, you have the right to the presumption of innocence until the state proves your guilt beyond a reasonable doubt. The right to indictment by the grand jury for most felonies or by accusation for misdemeanors. the right to a speedy and public trial by jury, the right to see, hear, and cross-examine all witnesses that are called to testify against you, the right to compel the attendance of witnesses in your own behalf by subpoena, the right to testify and offer other evidence in your own defense, should you choose to do so. But should you choose not to do so, no presumption of your guilt may be raised. You have the right to have an attorney represent you. At this point, I am going to appoint an attorney for all of you. Some of you will be allowed to post unrestricted bonds for your release from jail pending prosecution of the case, which may be cash, commercial, or property. If you post a cash bond, someone will deliver the full amount of the bond in cash, together with applicable mandated fees to the sheriff's office, who will hold it until your final court date, at which time the cash bond will be returned to the person who posted it. If you use a commercial bonding company approved by the sheriff, someone will have to pay the company up to 15% of the total bond as their fee for their service, and this fee will not be returned. Someone may post a bond using their property if they have net equity in the property in an amount equal to 3 times the total amount of the bond. Some of you will have special conditions on your bond that prohibit you from contacting certain people or going to or around certain places. This special condition will be provided to you on a separate form. You will also be prohibited from calling or having other contact with the victim while you are in jail. Should you violate the court's order, your bond will be revoked and you would not be entitled to another bond while awaiting trial. An additional charge of aggravated stalking, influencing a witness, or other charge as the law may provide could be brought against you, for which you could be sentenced up to 10 years in prison and fined up to $10,000. For family members who will be assisting you in posting bond, they will be provided information of your bond amount after we have concluded this first appearance calendar. If a family member is a victim on the warrant, and there is a special condition that you are to have no contact with that family member, he or she will not be allowed to post the bond. Some of you are charged with offenses for which this court is not authorized by law to set bond. In this event, a bond hearing will be scheduled before a superior court judge, and you will be informed of that date. If you are currently on active probation, this court is not authorized to set a bond. Your bond can be reconsidered after your probation officer has an opportunity to determine if they wish to file a warrant for violation of your probation, usually during your preliminary hearing. The purpose of a preliminary hearing is to determine if there is enough evidence or probable cause to justify keeping you detained until such time as your case goes to trial. For those of you that are charged with misdemeanors only, you will have the option of waiving your preliminary hearing. Waiving your hearing will not affect your right to post bond, your right to have an attorney appointed to represent you, or your right to a jury trial. If you have a misdemeanor charge or only misdemeanor charges, your preliminary hearing would be set for July 28th. If you want to waive that hearing, it will expedite your case to state court if you're trying to get in front of a state court judge faster to try to get your case resolved. You would probably have a hearing in state court in about 2 weeks. If you have any felony charges, you will have to wait, speak with an attorney first before you decide whether or not you want to waive your preliminary hearing. If you post bond, your preliminary hearing is automatically waived, and you will be mailed a notice when to appear in the state court for arraignment. If you cannot make bond, you may waive your preliminary hearing and be taken before a superior state court judge, at which time, if you plead guilty, you will be sentenced. If you plead not guilty, a trial will be scheduled. I'm going to call you all up each individually to conduct your hearing. Let me just ask the deputies, because I know it's a lot of people, if they want me to take the females first or
Yes,
what
ma'am.
is,
Yes, ma'am. Females be fine.
okay, so I'm gonna do the females from the calendar yesterday first, and then from the calendar from this morning first. I mean, after that.
Yes, ma'am.
All right. Let me have Charlene Carter, and after Miss Carter will be Deshelle Ellis.
Carter and then Ellis.
Who's the second one? Ellis.
Deshelle Ellis after Charlene Carter.
Come on, Carter, to the podium.
All right. Good morning, ma'am.
Good morning.
You are charged with theft by taking. Your bond is $7,500. You have a special condition not to violate any laws while you are out on bond. Ma'am, do you waive the formal reading of your charges, or do you want them read to you?
Yes, I want them read to me.
All right, the warrant indicates that on March 1st of 2020 at 1551 Phoenix Boulevard in College Park, you did commit the offense of theft by taking the property of a 2004 Honda Accord, the property of Gary Lee Lynn, with a value of $1,500.01 or greater, to wit, at least $1,500.01 or less than $5,000, with the intent to deprive said owner of said property. Mr. Lynn stated that he has known the offender for over 15 years, stated that he put out an ad for a caretaker driver online and the offender responded. She stated that Mr. Lynn should hire someone he knows and trusts like her. He agreed. The offender asked if she could use the vehicle one night, but Mr. Lynn stated no because he needed to get a repair to the car the next day. Once he fell asleep, the offender took the vehicle and has not returned it since. She is no longer his caretaker driver either. Mr. Lynn has talked to her via telephone, but she has informed him that she will not return the vehicle. Ma'am, do you believe you will be able to post your $7,500 bond?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, Your Honor.
All right. And I have appointed an attorney to represent you. Your preliminary hearing is set for July 27th at 8 o'clock in courtroom 203. That's July 27th at 8 o'clock in courtroom 203. Thank you, ma'am.
Okay, right now. Okay.
All right, next is Deshelle Ellis, and after Miss Ellis will be Carol Elrod. Good morning, Miss Ellis.
Good morning.
You are charged with theft by taking. Your bond is $2,000. You have a special condition not to violate any laws while you are out on bond. Do you waive the formal reading of your charges, or do you want them read to you? All right, ma'am, the warrant indicates that on June 18th at 4665 South Park Boulevard in Ellenwood, you did commit the act of theft by taking a violation of Official Code of Georgia 16-8-2, and that offender, Deshelle Ellis, did unlawfully take a driver's license, Wells Fargo debit card, college ID out of the victim, Nefertiti Newman, a white purse, which was inside her locker. This incident took place in Clayton County along with her white iPhone valued at $900. Ma'am, do you believe you will be able to post your $2,000 bond?
I should.
Okay, and I've appointed an attorney to represent you. Ma'am, would you like to waive your preliminary hearing?
What is a preliminary here? I don't know nothing about
It's your probable cause hearing. Do you want to waive your hearing, or do you, to state court, or do you want to have the hearing on July 28th?
You have it on July 28th. But
It is, hold on, ma'am. It is set for July 28th at 8 o'clock in courtroom 203. You had a question?
yeah, so I'm on probation and I have a warrant, so this doesn't.
Okay, so I've appointed an attorney to represent you. I can't give you any legal advice from the bench, so you'd have to ask your attorney about those issues regarding your probation and the warrant. Carol Elrod, and then after Miss Elrod will be Elizabeth Gamble. All right, good morning, ma'am.
Good morning.
Ma'am, you're charged with giving a false name, address, or date of birth. Your bond is $1,500 on that charge, and public drunk bond is $1,000. You have a special condition not to violate any laws while you are out on bond. Ma'am, do you waive the formal reading of your charges, or do you want them read to you?
That is my original name. They fingerprinted me when I came in, and I was living there until the 1st.
All right, so, okay, hold on. Let me just go ahead and read your warrant to you. The warrant indicates on June 18th at 6331 Terra Boulevard in Jonesboro that the offender did, while sitting on the ground next to the Texaco gas station while drinking a 24-ounce Colt 45 malt liquor beer. The offender's speech was slurred and she could barely stand up. The offender advised that her name was Carol Hunter. Date of birth, August 19th, 1961. The offender has a warrant for her arrest out of Dalton for criminal trespass. Then it gives the case numbers per GCIC. Ma'am, do you think that you will be able to post your bond?
Yeah.
All right. And do you want to waive your preliminary hearing?
And just be my bond
Yes,
now?
no, yes, no.
Yeah.
All right, thank you, ma'am. So they will have you sign a waiver and you are excused to go with the deputy. Thank you, ma'am. All right, Elizabeth Gamble, and after Ms. Gamble will be Lisa Hunt. All right, good morning, ma'am. You are charged with aggravated assault. You have no bond on that charge. Charged with simple battery on a police officer, and you have a $5,000 bond on that charge. You have a special condition to stay away and have no contact with Ebony Johnson and not to violate any laws while you are out on bond. Ma'am, do you waive the formal reading of your charges, or do you want them read to you?
Nope, I hear it.
Do you want them read to you, or do you know what you're charged with?
No, I know it. Nope, I know it.
I'm sorry, did you want me to read the warrant, or do you already know what you're charged with?
I don't want them read.
Okay, and ma'am, your preliminary hearing is set for July 27th at 8 o'clock in courtroom 203. Thank you, ma'am.
Which one, what was it again?
July 27th at 8 o'clock in courtroom 203.
July 27th, 8 o'clock.
Yep, thank you, ma'am. All right, next is Lisa Hunt, and after Ms. Hunt is Tommy, is Mia Long. All right, you're Ms. Hunt?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, good morning, ma'am. You're charged with defective equipment. Your bond is $500. You're charged with violation of the Georgia Controlled Substances Act. Your bond is $7,500. You're charged with use or possession of drug-related objects. Your bond is $1,000. You have a special condition not to violate any laws while you're out on bond. Ma'am, do you waive the formal reading of your charges, or do you want them read to you?
Yeah, ma'am, I have there.
I'm sorry, I couldn't hear you.
Yeah, what they are.
Okay. And let's see. Ma'am, do you believe you will be able to post your bond?
No, ma'am.
All right. Your preliminary hearing is going to be set for July 27th at 8 o'clock in courtroom 203. July 27th at 8 in courtroom 203. Thank you, ma'am. Next is Mia Long. After Ms. Long is Sheila Nugent. All right, good morning, ma'am.
Good morning.
Ma'am, you are charged with affray. Your bond is $1,000. You have a special condition not to violate any laws while you're out on bond. Ma'am, do you waive the formal reading of your charges, or do you want them read to you?
I have a question about the waiver.
The warrant, do you know what you're charged with, or do you want it read to you?
I was wondering, like, if I waive it, do I still have an option with my bonding?
You'll still be able to bond. If you bond out, it's automatically waived, your preliminary hearing. and then you'll get your next court date in the mail.
I would like to waive it.
Okay. Now, what about your charges? Do you want the warrant read to you, or do you know what you're charged with?
I was charged with first, so I was just fighting.
Okay. It says on June 18th, you are fist fighting two or more teenagers at 2301 Talmadge Road in Lovejoy, causing a disturbance to the facility. During the altercation, the staff member, Kuba Lewis and Erica Leon, were also physically hit as well. All right. And do you think you can post your $1,000 bond?
No, no, ma'am.
Okay, but you said you want, okay. And so for the waiver for your preliminary hearing, a deputy will have you sign a waiver, and then you'll get a hearing in state court probably in a couple of weeks,
Yes, ma'am.
unless you bond out.
Yes.
All right, thank you, ma'am. Sheila Nguyen. The next will be Amber Ragan. Good morning, ma'am.
Morning.
Ma'am, you're charged with criminal trespass. Your bond is $1,500 on that charge. You're charged with simple assault. The bond is $3,000. You have a special condition to stay away and have no contact with Xavier Laguna and not to violate any laws while you are out on bond.
ma'am.
Ma'am, do you waive the formal reading of your charges, or do you want them read to you?
I would like to waive it.
Okay. Do you believe you can post your bond?
Ma'am.
You said yes?
Ma'am.
Right. And your preliminary hearing, do you want to waive your preliminary hearing?
What would that be?
Your preliminary hearing is your probable cause hearing that would be on July 28th. Or if you waive it, you'll get a hearing in state court probably in a couple of weeks.
I would like to waive it.
All right. They will have a waiver form for you to sign, and that's all. And then you'll be excused to go with the deputy. Thank you, ma'am. All right, Amber Reagan, and after Miss Reagan will be Velma Riley Glass. All right, good morning.
Morning.
Ma'am, you're charged with driving on a suspended or revoked license. Your bond is $1,500. You have a special condition not to violate any laws while you are out on bond. Ma'am, do you waive the formal reading of your charges, or do you want them read to you?
I'll waive them.
Okay. And do you think that you can post your $1,500 bond?
I don't think so.
Not sure. What about your preliminary hearing? Do you want to waive your preliminary hearing?
Yes.
All right, so they will have a waiver form for you to sign, and then you'll be excused to go back with the deputy. Thank you, ma'am.
Do OR bonds?
You said what?
Do OR bonds?
Yeah, not on the driving on a suspended license, though. All right, Miss Velma Riley Glass, and next will be Tanya Rivers. All right,
She's out on bond.
Riley Glass, good morning.
Good morning.
You're charged with aggravated stalking. You have no bond set on this charge. You'll have to have a bond hearing before a superior court judge. You have a special condition to stay away and have no contact with Walter Glass and not to violate any laws while you are out on bond. Ma'am, do you waive the formal reading of your charges, or do you want them read to you?
If I waive it, when do I go to court? In 2 weeks?
No, with your charges, do you understand what you're charged with, or do you want the warrant read to you?
I understand what my charges are.
Okay, so I'm gonna already give you a date for your preliminary hearing. It's gonna be set for July 27th at 8 o'clock in courtroom 203. And then you're gonna have a bond hearing before a superior court judge on July 31st at 8 o'clock in room 203. So your prelim will be July 27th and your bond hearing will be July 31st.
So what was they explained about the waiving something in
That's only for misdemeanor cases.
okay.
All right, thank you, ma'am. Tanya Rivers, and after Ms. Rivers will be Sydney Stevens.
Prince is out on bond.
Ms. Rivers is out on bond, okay.
Fawcett Walker.
All right, are you Ms. Stevens?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. Ms. Stevens, you are charged with a fray. Your bond is $1,000. You have a special condition not to violate any laws while you're out on bond. Ma'am, do you waive the formal reading of your charges, or do you want your charges read to you?
Can you read it to me?
All right, the warrant indicates on June 18th, 2020, at 2301 Talmadge Road in Lovejoy, you were fist fighting two or more teenagers at that address, causing a disturbance to the facility, and staff members, Akava Lewis and Erica Leon were also physically hit. All right. Ma'am, do you believe you'll be able to post your $1,000 bond?
I'm not for sure. With them being a defects, with me being a defects, my dad said something about my guardian, my legal guardian has to do all of that.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. And all right. Thank you, ma'am.
Not waive that.
Oh, wait, your preliminary hearing, you want to waive that?
Yes.
All right. They will have a waiver form for you to sign, and then you'll be excused to go with the deputy. Thank you, ma'am.
We go on to the next day, Judge.
Okay.
This is Fawcett Walker.
Let me get my paperwork together.
Okay. And Judge, just for FYI, Goodrum is gonna be done last. We're gonna do her in the place I told you after everything is done.
You know, okay, good one. There were 3 add-ons. Did you all get those people?
Add them up, Judge. They up here.
Okay, so you have Brianna Cyprian.
Ma'am.
All right. I'll do Ms. Cyprian next.
Okay. Cyprian.
And you're Ms. Fawcett Walker?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, Judge.
All right. Good morning. Good afternoon, actually. You are charged with theft by taking. Your bond is $6,000 on that charge. You have a special condition not to violate any laws while you're out on bond. Do you waive the formal reading of your charges, or do you want them read to you?
No, yes, ma'am. Read them to me. Yes, ma'am.
All right, the warrant indicates on June 19th, 2020 at 1409 H5 Rock Cut Road in Forest Park. Said offender did unlawfully take the property of Kyrie Brown. Said offender took an Apple iPhone of said victim and deprived him of his property. Victim said the iPhone was around $1,200. Said offender took the phone and hid it inside her apartment under her mattress. Ma'am, do you believe you can post your $6,000 bond?
Yes, ma'am.
Right. Your preliminary hearing is set for July 27th at 8 o'clock in courtroom 203. July 27th at 8 in courtroom 203. Thank you, ma'am. And next will be Brianna Cyprian. After Ms. Cyprian will be Gia Gaines. You Ms. Cyprian?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, good morning, ma'am.
Good morning.
Ma'am, you are charged with battery. Your bond is $4,000. You have a special condition to stay away and have no contact with Toshiro Masliano. Also not to violate any laws while you are out on bond. Ma'am, do you waive the formal reading of your charges, or do you want them read to you?
You can read them to me.
The warrant indicates on June 20th, 2020 at 4148 Jonesboro Road in Forest Park, said offender did intentionally cause visible harm to Deshiro Maslino by striking him in the face several times. Said offender was kicked out of a bar and Deshiro was trying to get her to leave. Said offender made Deshiro bleed from the nose. Do you believe you will be able to post your $4,000 bond?
I'm not sure.
Okay. And ma'am, do you want to waive your preliminary hearing?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. So they will have a waiver form for you to sign, and then you'll be excused to go back with the deputy. Thank you, ma'am. Miss Gia, is it, how do you pronounce your last name? Gaines?
Gewins.
Gians. Okay. I hope I'm pronouncing it correctly. All right, ma'am, you're charged with 2 counts of giving a false name, address, or date of birth. You have a $1,000 bond on each count for a total of $2,000. You have a special condition not to violate any laws while you're out on bond. Ma'am, do you waive the formal reading of your charges or do you want them read to you?
Can't hear you.
Can you hear me?
You were saying,
Uh-oh.
Take your mask down so you can talk.
you were
Can you
saying,
hear me, ma'am?
Yeah.
Okay. Do you want the warrant read to you or do you waive the formal reading of your charges?
waiving the formal reading of the charges. However, there should only be 1 count. I only gave him 1 name.
Okay, the warrant indicates that you gave the officer the information twice before giving your correct name. So that's why there were 2 different counts that the officer charged you with. And let me see. Okay, I've appointed an attorney to represent you. Do you believe you'll be able to post your $2,000 bond?
10% I can.
Okay. And do you want to waive your preliminary hearing?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so they will have a waiver form for you to sign, and then you'll be excused to go back with the deputy. Thank you, ma'am. All right, next will be Tara Hill, and after Ms. Hill will be Lindsay Johnson. You're Ms. Hill?
Yes.
All right, good morning, ma'am. You are charged with simple battery, family violence. Your bond is $4,000. You have a special condition to stay away and have no contact with Akeem Simmons. Also not to violate any laws while you are out on bond. Ma'am, do you waive the formal reading of your charges or do you want them read to you?
Read to me.
Okay. The warrant indicates on June 19th at 1760 Selena Drive in Jonesboro, said offender did admit she scratched the victim, Akeem Simmons, during a physical altercation after she initiated the conflict by going through the victim's cell phone. The victim is the offender's husband who resides with her at 1760 Selena Drive in Jonesboro, Clayton County. The victim had visible scratches located on his arms, back, and chest with blood drawn to the surface. Do you believe you will be able to post your $4,000 bond?
Yes.
All right, and do you want to waive your preliminary hearing?
Can you tell me what that means if I do or if I don't?
If you waive your preliminary hearing, you'll get another hearing in state court in about a couple of weeks. If you bond out, that hearing will automatically be waived and you'll get your next court date in the mail.
Okay, well, yes.
All right, so they'll have a waiver form for you to sign and then you'll be excused to go back with the deputy. Thank you, ma'am. Lindsay Johnson. After Ms. Johnson will be Jasmine Kirk. All right, you're Ms. Johnson?
Yes.
All right, good morning, ma'am. You are charged with simple assault. Your bond is $3,000. You have a special condition to stay away and have no contact with Theodore Bridge and not to violate any laws while you are out on bond. Ma'am, do you waive the formal reading of your charges or do you want them read to you?
Wait, what does that mean?
Do you want the warrant read to you, or do you know what you're charged with?
I was charged with disorderly conduct.
Okay, you're charged with simple assault. The warrant indicates on June 19th, 2020, Clayton County at 2345 Poplar Street in Morrow. Said offender did on the above date and time in Clayton County, Georgia, did commit the act of simple assault, and that the offender did act in a violent manner toward Theodore Bridge by waving a loaded weapon in the air, which placed the victim in reasonable fear for his safety. Ma'am, do you think that you can post your bond?
Yes.
All right. And ma'am, would you like to waive your preliminary hearing?
I can bond out.
Yeah, you'd still be able to bond out, and then you'd get your, if you bond out, then you would get your next court date in the mail.
I really just bond out.
Okay, so do you want to waive your preliminary hearing then?
Yes.
All right, so they'll have a waiver form for you to sign, and then you'll be excused to go back with the deputy. Thank you, ma'am. Jasmine Kirk. After Ms. Kirk will be Francis Nixon.
Morning.
All right. Good morning, Ms. Kirk. You are charged with murder with malice. You have no bond set. You'll have a bond hearing before a superior court judge. You're charged with possession of a weapon during a crime. You have no bond set because you are on 12 months probation in Clayton County State Court. You are charged with discharging a firearm near a highway. Your bond is $10,000 on that charge. You have a special condition not to violate any laws while you're out on bond. Ma'am, do you waive the formal reading of your charges, or do you want them read to you?
I want to read to me.
All right, hold on just a moment. For the murder with malice charge, the warrant indicates on June 19th, 2020 at 8765 Terra Boulevard in Jonesboro, you did commit the offense of murder with malice against the state of Georgia, and that said defendant did knowingly and intentionally with malice shoot Mary Latrice Branch 3 times, killing her inside a vehicle in the Waffle House parking lot. Branch was struck in the sternum, right breast, and underneath the right armpit with a .38 caliber firearm. Hold on, let me get to the next charge. All right, for the possession of a firearm or knife during the commission or attempt to commit certain felonies, the warrant indicates that on June 19th, 2020 at 8765 Terra Boulevard in Jonesboro, you did commit the offense of possession of a firearm or knife during commission of or attempt to commit certain felonies against the state of Georgia, and that said defendant did have on her person a firearm, unknown make and model, .38 caliber or .380 caliber during the commission of aggravated assault felony under the laws of the state of Georgia. Jasmine Kirk walked up to the vehicle occupied by Mary L. Branch and fired 3 shots into the vehicle, striking Branch in her sternum, right breast, and underneath her right armpit, killing her instantly. All right, and then for the discharge of a firearm on or near a public highway or street, the warrant indicates on June 19th, 2020 at 8765 Terra Boulevard in Jonesboro, you did commit the offense of discharging a firearm on or near public highway or street against the state of Georgia, and that said defendant did knowingly and intentionally fire 3 shots at Mary L. Branch, killing her in the Waffle House parking lot. This location sits within 150 feet of US Highway 1941. Ma'am, your preliminary hearing is going to be set for July 27th at 8 o'clock in courtroom 203. And your bond hearing is set for July 31st at 8 o'clock in courtroom 203. Thank you, ma'am.
Can I ask you a question? If I wanted to speak with the detectives that wanted to speak with me, how do I request that?
Ma'am, I've appointed an attorney to represent you, so you would need to speak with your attorney about that. All right?
yes.
They'll come speak with you in the jail. Thank you, ma'am.
Hold on, man. I think you got somebody. Who's next, Judge?
Francis Nixon, and after Miss Nixon will be Salida Partridge.
How about Mateen? You got a Mateen? Mateen is a female.
What's the first name?
Miracle Mateen.
Okay, let me check.
Mateen.
All right, I can do Miss Mateen next.
Okay.
Are you Francis Nixon?
Yeah.
All right, good morning, ma'am. You're charged with driving on a suspended or revoked license. Your bond is $1,500. You have a special condition not to violate any laws while you're out on bond.
Okay.
Ma'am, do you waive the formal reading of your charges or do you want them read to you?
Oh, ma'am, I waive. I know what they are.
All right. And do you believe you'll be able to post your bond?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. And would you like to waive your preliminary hearing?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, so they will have a waiver form for you to sign, and then you'll be excused to go back with the deputy. Thank you, ma'am.
Stay with him.
Okay, thank you.
Mateen,
Mateen. Stay with him.
and after Miss Mateen will be Salida Partridge. All right, Miss Mateen, good morning.
Good morning.
Ma'am, you are charged with cruelty to children in the first degree. You have no bond set on that charge. You're charged with obstructing an officer. You're charged, your bond is $1,500 on that charge. Tampering with evidence, a $10,000 bond. Aggravated battery, you have no bond on that charge. And you have three counts of cruelty to children in the third degree. Your bond is $1,500 on each charge. You have a special condition to stay away and have no contact with Shamara Mays and not to violate any laws while you're out on bond. Do you waive the formal reading of your charges or do you want them read to you?
What?
Do you waive the formal reading of your charges or do you want them, like, do you want the warrant read to you or do you think you know what you're charged with?
I mean, they didn't tell me, they didn't tell me that,
Do you want me to read the warrant?
they didn't tell me, they didn't have a warrant to come in the house. They just pulled me out.
Okay, that's not what I'm asking. Do you want me to read the warrant that details all of these charges? All right. The warrant indicates on June 19th, 2020 in Clayton County at 6197 Thornhedge Drive in Riverdale. Said offender did commit the offense of cruelty to children when she maliciously caused excessive and mental pain to a child under the age of 18, Shamara Mays, by tossing hot cooking grease on her body, which caused second-degree burns. The offender committed the offense of obstruction when she went into the home and locked the door. The offender was advised an investigation was being conducted and she still refused to open the door. After a search warrant was obtained, the offender still refused to open the door. The offender committed the offense of tampering with evidence when she used a towel to clean the oil after she advised it was a crime scene and she was being investigated for a felony. The offender committed the offense of aggravated battery when she maliciously caused bodily harm to another, Shamara Mays, by throwing hot cooking oil on the victim, which seriously disfigured her face, hands, stomach, and legs. The offender committed the offense of cruelty to children, 3rd degree, when she allowed children under 18 to witness and hear a forcible felony, aggravated battery. The children who witnessed the offense, Isaiah Mateen, Malcolm Johnson, and Amina Mateen. The offender and victim lived together. The offense occurred in Clayton County, Georgia. Ma'am, I've appointed attorney to represent you. Your preliminary hearing is scheduled for July 27th at 8 o'clock in courtroom 203. July 27th at 8 o'clock in courtroom 203. Thank you, ma'am.
All right, step over. Okay.
They spelled my name wrong.
What's your last name?
Partridge.
This is Miss Partridge, Judge.
All right.
But
Good morning.
I'm sorry, Judge. She advised that her name was spelled wrong too, so just letting you know.
How is it supposed to be spelled, ma'am?
CHELITA.
Okay, so they didn't put the H in there?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. I'll write it on the, oh, okay. It's in the warrant, but not on the bond form.
Warrant. Oh.
All right, ma'am, you are charged with driving under the influence of alcohol. Your bond is $2,000 on that charge, and driving on the wrong side of the road, your bond is $500 on that charge. You have a special condition not to violate any laws while you're out on bond. Ma'am, do you waive the formal reading of your charges, or do you want them read to you?
I waive.
All right, and do you believe you'll be able to post your bonds?
Yes.
All right, and for your preliminary hearing, do you want to waive your preliminary hearing?
Yes.
All right, so they will have a waiver form for you to sign, and then you'll be excused to go back with the deputy. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.
All right, Diamond Robinson. After Ms. Robinson will be Robin Summerfield. Good morning, ma'am.
How you doing?
Good, thank you. Ma'am, you are charged with violation of the Georgia Controlled Substances Act. Your bond is $7,000, $7,500. You have a special condition not to violate any laws while you're out on bond. Do you believe you'll be able to post your bond, ma'am?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, and ma'am, your preliminary hearing is set for July 27th at 8 o'clock in courtroom 203. July 27th at 8 in courtroom 203.
203
Yes, ma'am.
and 7,500.
Yes, ma'am.
All right, and the date 28th.
The preliminary hearing is July 27th.
Oh, okay.
All right, thank you, ma'am.
No problem. I appreciate it.
Robin Summerfield, and then Latasia Goodrum. Good morning, ma'am. You're charged with giving a false name, address, or date of birth. Your bond is $1,500. You have a special condition not to violate any laws while on bond. Ma'am, do you waive the formal reading of your charges, or do you want them read to you?
What that mean? Do I
Do
waive?
you want the warrant read to you, or do you understand what you're charged with?
If I'm charged with that and if I got $1,000 bond, that's it.
$1,500.
It's a $1,500.
Yep.
Okay.
Do you think you can post that bond?
No.
Now, for your preliminary hearing, do you want to waive your preliminary hearing?
Yes.
All right, thank you, ma'am. They will have a waiver form for you to sign. Latasia Goodrum.
What's the name?
Latasia Nicole Goodrum. I think that's the one you said to wait till the end.
Judge, that's the one, Goodrum is the one we're gonna wait to do after the mail.
Okay, do her after the males. Okay, so that was the last female then, right?
Yes, ma'am.
That's the only one left, and we'll do her after the males. Okay.
I do have one female, Whitehead.
What's her first name?
Whitehead's first name is going to be Utama, U-T-A-M.
Okay.
Okay, I'll grab her right quick.
Okay. I got her paperwork.
Okay. Come on, Ms. Whitehead. Ms. Whitehead. Whitehead. Come on, man. Come on. Whitehead. Come on, man. Whitehead. Get up. Get on the chair. Come on. Come on the chair. Come on. Get up. Come on, Ms. Whitehead.
Be advised, Judge, she has extreme mental health.
Okay, right here.
Okay.
Here she goes, Ms. Here she goes, Judge.
All right. Good morning, ma'am. You are charged with possession of marijuana, 1 ounce or less. You have a $1,500 bond. Ma'am, I'm going to release you on your own recognizance and let you sign a signature bond. You have a special condition not to violate any laws while you are out on bond. The warrant indicates that on June 19th, 2020, in Clayton County at 7523 Highway 85 in Riverdale, said offender did possess marijuana less than 1 ounce when she admitted that the green leafy substance was hers, and the green leafy substance was with immediate reach as she was sitting down. The offense occurred in Clayton County, Georgia. The possession was in violation of the Georgia Controlled Substances Act. All right, so ma'am, you'll be released on your own recognizance. Since I'm letting you sign your own bonds, you'll need to sign a waiver of your preliminary hearing and you'll get your next court date in the mail. All right, thank you, ma'am.
Come on, baby. Thank you. Do me a favor. What's your name right here? What's your name right here? What's your name? You take that up. You take that up. They ain't sure that you good. Great. G-R-A-Y-T-O. Okay. Birdie. Jeremy Birdie. She good.
All right, hold on just a moment.
All right, Judge, we see we getting the mails lined up for first day. We got Mr. Brooks standing by. Brooks, you got it? Oh,
I did him already.
Oh, you did him already? Yeah, that was the first guy. So who's after him?
Carl Brown.
Like when she's talking to him, like when she wants. You called me already.
All right. Sorry about that. Give me just a second. All right, you're Mr. Brown?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, good morning, sir. You are charged with battery. Your bond is $4,000. Possession of marijuana, 1 ounce or less. Your bond is $1,500 on that charge. You have a special condition to stay away and have no contact with like Wasika Shepherd and not to violate any laws while you're out on bond. Sir, do you waive the formal reading of your charges or do you want them read to you?
You read to me.
All right, the warrant indicates on June 18th, 2020 in Clayton County at 450 Cameo Drive in Riverdale. Said offender did commit the above offenses of battery and violation of Georgia Controlled Substances Act, possession of marijuana less than an ounce, by getting into a physical confrontation with the victim, Sika Shepherd. After a verbal argument, the victim stated the offender grabbed her by her arm and threw her to the ground. As a result, the victim sustained a mark which was red and swollen on her right arm, a mark which was red and swollen on her left forearm, a mark and scratches which were red and swollen on the left side of her back, and marks which were red and swollen on the back of her right arm. The offender was then pat searched for weapons, and while doing so, I felt what I ID'd as a small bag of drugs. After a search incident to arrest was done, no drugs were found on the offender's person. Located in the driveway of the location was a bag of suspected marijuana, which weighed 3.9 grams. These offenses happened in Clayton County. Sir, do you believe you will be able to post your bond?
Yes.
All right. Do you want to waive your preliminary hearing?
What do you mean by that?
If you waive your hearing, then you'll get a court date in state court, or if you bond out, it's automatically waived.
No.
All right. Your preliminary hearing will be set for July 28th at 8 o'clock in courtroom 203. Thank you, sir.
All right, step this way now. You gotta write it while you're saying, man. That's what I say, right while you're saying.
All right, Eric Creighton. All right. Good morning, sir. You are charged with theft by receiving stolen property, and criminal attempt to commit armed robbery. Wait, the theft by receiving is a $7,500 bond. The criminal attempt to commit armed robbery is a $10,000 bond. You have a special condition not to violate any laws while you are on bond. Sir, do you waive the formal reading of your charges, or do you want them read to you?
You can read them to me.
All right, it says on June 18th, 2020 in Clayton County at 680 Lamar Hutchinson Parkway. Said offender did commit the offense of theft by receiving stolen property when he receives or retains stolen property which he knows or should know is stolen. To wit, on 6/18/20, Eric Creighton possessed a stolen vehicle which he knew was stolen. The vehicle, a 2020 Mazda Georgia tag CMM 8273. This did happen inside the city of Riverdale, Clayton County. During a recorded interview, Creighton advised he knew the vehicle was stolen. That was for the theft by receiving stolen property charge. On June 15th, 2020, at 149 Timberland Trail in Riverdale, the offender did commit the offense of criminal attempt to commit armed robbery against the state of Georgia, and that said defendant did commit the offense of criminal attempt when he performs any act which constitutes a substantial step towards the commission of that crime. To wit, on June 15th at 3 p.m., Eric Creighton was the driver of a stolen Hyundai Accent, Georgia license plate RQM9908, along with 3 other occupants. All persons, Jeremy Durden, Marquavius Holloway, and Jeremy Fitzpatrick, all persons were present during the time Jeremy Fitzpatrick and Marquavius Holloway committed the armed robbery. Eric Creighton drove the vehicle to and from the location. Sir, your preliminary hearing is going to be set for July 27th at 8 o'clock in courtroom 203. Do you believe you'll be able to post your bond on these charges, sir?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. Thank you, sir.
I can ask a question.
What's your question, sir?
You said for my first bond, how much is it?
For the theft by receiving stolen property, $7,500.
And then the second one is seven.
$10,000.
All right, thank you.
All right, listen.
All right. Stephen Douglas.
What's your name? Durden? You say Durden, Judge?
Stephen Douglas, and then Jeremy Durden.
Is Douglas out on bond?
Stephen Douglas.
He's out on bond. Come on, Durden.
Okay. Jeremy Durden. All right, Mr. Durden, good morning.
How you
Sir, you are charged with, I'm good, thank you. You're charged with financial transaction card fraud, a $5,000 bond, theft by receiving stolen property, a $7,500 bond, and criminal attempt to commit armed robbery, a $10,000 bond. You have a special condition not to violate any laws while you're out on bond. Sir, do you waive the formal reading of your charges, or do you want them read to you?
I want to read to me.
All right. On June 15th, 2020 at 8126 Highway 85 in Riverdale, said offender did with, this is for the financial transaction card fraud, did with intent to defraud Taqueria Restaurant, El Progreso, number 5, an organization providing goods and services. The accused did obtain goods valued at $390, a cell phone, iPhone 7 Plus, red in color, unknown serial number, used a financial transaction card, Bank of America MasterCard number ending in 2172, issued to the victim, Teresa Culebro, which the accused knew was stolen, forged, altered, etc., for the purpose of obtaining goods. For the criminal attempt to commit armed robbery, did on June 15th, 2020 at 149 Timberland Trail in Riverdale, commit the offense of criminal attempt to commit armed robbery against the state of Georgia, and that said defendant did commit a specific crime, which constitutes a substantial step towards the commission of that crime. And I think that is with with Jeremy Durden, Marquarius Holloway. I think it has one other part, and Eric Creighton. All right. Sir, do you believe you will be able to post your bond on these charges?
Yes, you said one was 10,000, one was 7,500, and the other was 5,000.
Yes, sir.
All right.
And your preliminary hearing is July 27th at 8 o'clock in courtroom 203. Thank you, sir. Next will be Jeremiah Fitzpatrick. After Mr. Fitzpatrick will be Keith Hill.
Hey, how you doing?
I'm good. You're Mr. Fitzpatrick?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, sir, you are charged with theft by receiving stolen property. Your bond is $7,500. You have a special condition not to violate any laws while you're on bond. Do you waive the formal reading of your charges, or do you want them read to you?
You don't got to read it to me, ma'am. I understand.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Very much.
Let's see, wait.
Oh, my bad, ma'am.
I've appointed an attorney to represent you. Do you think you'll be able to post your $7,500 bond?
No.
Your preliminary hearing is going to be July 27th at 8 in courtroom 203.
Thank you, ma'am.
All right, thank you, sir. Keith Hill. After Mr. Hill will be Marquavius Holloway.
Say, Keith Hill. I need Keith Hill. That's not Keith Hill. That's Keith Hill, the big guy. Keith Hill! Hill. Hold on, Judge, he's coming.
Okay, and then after Mr. Hill is gonna be Marquavius Holloway.
Okay. Come on, Mr. Hill. Oh, boy.
How you doing?
I'm good. You're Mr. Hill?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, good afternoon, sir.
Mhm.
You are charged with DUI, alcohol less safe. Your bond on that charge is $2,000. Failure to signal, your bond is $500, and license not on person, your bond is $500. Sir, you have a special condition not to violate any laws while you're on bond. Sir, do you waive the formal reading of your charges, or do you want them read to you? Do you know what you're charged with, or do you want me to read the warrant?
Say what, ma'am?
Do you know what you're charged with?
Come on, she just read me?
Do you know what you're charged with? You know why you're here?
Yeah, but I don't know about no signal.
All right, sir. So,
Okay.
right, it indicates on June 18th, 2020 in Clayton County at West Fayetteville Road and Norman Drive. Said offender did operate a silver 2000 Ford Crown Victoria as the operator and sole occupant of the vehicle traveling north on West Fayetteville Road at Norman Drive. Mr. Hill approached the road safety check, pre-planned and supervised by Lieutenant Thrift, primarily for license and vehicle registration. While I was making contact with another vehicle at the checkpoint on the northbound lanes, I observed a 2000 Ford Crown Victoria failed to signal while attempting to negotiate a U-turn in the middle of the roadway. I advised the driver, Mr. Hill, to continue north, but appeared to be confused on the instructions. Upon making contact, I observed Mr. Hill's speech was slurred, thick tongues, and he had bloodshot and glassy eyes. Mr. Hill advised that he had consumed several alcoholic beverages. As Mr. Hill exited his vehicle, I could smell the strong odor of an alcoholic beverage coming from his person and breath as he spoke. Mr. Hill used the vehicle to help himself balance as he walked towards the rear of the vehicle. He admitted to consuming approximately 4 shots of vodka at a friend's house just down the road from the location and consumed the last shot approximately 1 hour prior to my contact. Upon standard field sobriety test, I observed 4 of 6 clues on the horizontal gaze nystagmus. Mr. Hill advised, I know I've been drinking and I'm over the limit. Mr. Hill also advised that he had been drinking and he is aware that he shouldn't have. Upon asking for Mr. Hill for his driver's license, he advised that he didn't have his driver's license on his person or in the vehicle at this time. This incident occurred in unincorporated Clayton County. Sir, do you believe you will be able to post your bond?
No, not right now.
Would you like to waive your preliminary hearing?
Nah.
Okay, it will be set for July 28th at 8 o'clock in courtroom 203. Thank you, sir. Marquavius Holloway. After Mr. Holloway will be Eugene Hornsby. All right. Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon, Judge.
All right, you are charged with armed robbery. You will have to have a bond set by Superior Court judge on that charge, so you have no bond on that. Home invasion in the 1st degree, same thing, no bond. It'll have to be set by a Superior Court judge. Another armed robbery, no bond. It have to be set by a Superior Court judge. Kidnapping, no bond. Theft by taking, you have a $10,000 bond on that charge. And theft by receiving stolen property, you have a bond for $7,500. You have a special condition to stay away and have no contact with Benito Garcia, Erica Ramirez, Emmanuel Garcia, and Samantha Garcia. Sir, do you waive the formal reading of your charges, or do you want them read to you? Do you want me to read the warrants, or do you know what you're charged with?
You read one.
All right. All right, for the theft by receiving, did commit the offense of theft by receiving stolen property, and that you received or retained stolen property, which you knew or should have known is stolen on June 18th. You had in your possession a stolen vehicle, 2019 Jeep Compass, Georgia tag, looks like CNE 2187. This vehicle is confirmed stolen on GCIC NCIC. This did happen in the city of Riverdale. And you did confess that the vehicle was stolen. For the kidnapping, you did on June 13th, 2020 at 804 Dogwood Trail in Jonesboro. Defendant did knowingly and willfully abduct Benito Garcia, Erica Ramirez, Emmanuel Garcia, Samantha Garcia without lawful authority or warrant and hold them against their will. All right, hold on. For the theft by taking, did on June 13th, 2020 at 804 Dogwood Trail in Jonesboro commit the offense of theft by taking, and that said defendant did take property 2005 Ford Freestyle, the property of Erica Ramirez and Benito Garcia with a value of $4,500 with the intent to deprive said owner of said property. Armed robbery, June 13th, 2020 at 804 Dogwood Trail in Jonesboro. Defendant did, with the intent to commit theft, take a black LG K20 cell phone, black Samsung Galaxy A20 cell phone, a black Samsung Galaxy tablet, 2 gold rings, and a red 2005 Ford Freestyle, the property of Benito Garcia, Erica Ramirez, Emmanuel Garcia, and Samantha Garcia, from the immediate presence person of the victims by use of a pistol. All right. On June 13th, 2020 at 804 Dogwood Trail in Jonesboro, commit the offense of home invasion in the first degree against the state of Georgia, and that said defendant did without authority and with intent to commit a forcible felony therein, and while in possession of a deadly weapon or instrument which when used offensively against a person is likely to or actually does result in serious bodily injury, he did enter the front door using one victim's key to commit the offense of armed robbery, said weapon being pistol, said victim being Benito Garcia, Erica Ramirez, Emmanuel Garcia, and Samantha Garcia. And for the other armed robbery, June 15th, 2020 at 149 Timberland Trail in Riverdale, commit the offense of armed robbery against the state of Georgia, and that said defendant did with the intent to commit theft of a purse, the property of Teresa Cobero, from the immediate presence person of Ms. Cobero by use of a small handgun, to wit, Marquarius Holloway, along with Jeremiah Fitzpatrick, exited a silver in color Hyundai Accent. Mr. Holloway removed a purse along with a wallet from the vehicle, while Mr. Fitzpatrick held the female at gunpoint. Okay. All right, sir, your preliminary hearing is set for July 27th at 8 o'clock in courtroom 202. And your bond hearing is set for July 31st at 8 o'clock in courtroom 203. All right, so July 27th and July 31st. Thank you, sir.
Courtroom?
Eugene Hornsby. After Mr. Hornsby will be Tommy King.
Yes, ma'am.
All right, good morning, sir.
Good morning.
Sir, you are charged with driving on a suspended or revoked license, obstructing an officer, reckless driving, and simple battery against an officer. On the suspended license, it's $1,500 bond, obstructing an officer, $1,500 bond, reckless driving, $1,500, and on the simple battery, $4,000. You have a 4,000, yes, sir. You have a special condition not to violate any laws while you're on bond. Sir, do you waive the formal reading of your charges or do you want them read to you?
No, I waive them, love.
All right. And sir, do you think that you can post your bond?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. And do you want to waive your preliminary hearing?
What does that mean?
So your preliminary hearing would be here in Magistrate Court on July 28th, or you can waive your case to state court and you get a hearing date probably in a couple of weeks.
I don't.
All right, I'm gonna set it for July 28th at 8 o'clock in courtroom 203. July 28th,
8 o'clock.
8 o'clock in courtroom 203. All right, thank you, sir.
You're welcome. You said 203, right?
Yes.
Yes, sir. Tommy King, and after Mr. King will be Xavier Laguna.
Being
Yes, ma'am.
All right, you're Mr. King?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, good afternoon, sir.
Yes,
Sir,
ma'am.
you are charged with simple battery. Your bond is $4,000. You have a special condition to stay away and have no contact with Michael King and not to violate any laws while on bond. Sir, do you waive the formal reading of your charges or do you want them read to you?
I'll waive it.
All right. And sir, do you believe you will be able to post your $4,000 bond?
No,
Do you want to waive your preliminary hearing and expedite your case to state court?
no, ma'am.
All right, your hearing will be set for July 28th at 8 o'clock in courtroom 203. Thank you, sir. All right, Xavier Laguna, and then next would be Eric Martin. I'm good, thank you, sir. How are you?
Good.
Sir, you are charged with reckless conduct, which is a $3,000 bond. You're also charged with discharging a firearm on the property of another. After reviewing the warrant, I did not find probable cause for that charge, and I denied that warrant. So you just have the one reckless conduct charge. You have a special condition to stay away and have no contact with Sheila Nguyen or Nugent. Also not to violate any laws while you're out on bond. All right, sir, do you waive the formal reading of your charges or do you want them read to you?
Can you have them read to me?
All right. On June 18th, 2020 in Clayton County at 6102 Foxcroft Court in Morrow, said offender did knowingly and willfully discharge 2 rounds a couple feet away from Miss Sheila Nguyen when Miss Nguyen came to Laguna with the meat hammer on her hand. The offender fired 2 rounds on the ground. All right. And do you believe you can post your $3,000 bond?
I'll have to talk to my family about that.
All right. And would you like to waive your preliminary hearing to expedite your case to state court?
What would that mean?
If you waive, the hearing will be July 28th, or if you waive it to state court, you'll probably get a hearing within like a couple of weeks in state court.
I'll wait till the 28th.
You want the hearing on July 28th?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, so it'll be July 28th at 8 o'clock in courtroom 203. Thank you, sir.
Yes, ma'am.
Judge Eric Martin has bonded out.
Oh, okay, Eric Martin bonded out. All right. All right, then I have Christian McClarity. And after Mr. McClarity would be Daniel Santos. All right. Good afternoon, sir. You're charged with possession of a firearm by a felon, a convicted felon. Your bond is $10,000. You have a special condition not to violate any laws while on bond. Sir, do you waive the formal reading of your charges or do you want them read to you?
I read them.
Okay. And do you think you can post your $10,000 bond?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. And your preliminary hearing is set for July 27th at 8 o'clock in courtroom 203. All right. Thank you, sir.
Oh, come on, sir.
Daniel Santos. And then next will be Timothy Smith. All right. Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon to you too, ma'am.
Sir, you're charged with driving without a license. Your bond is $1,000. I'm going to release you on your own recognizance and let you sign a signature bond. You'll have a special condition not to violate any laws while you're out on bond.
Okay.
So since I am, and I'm going to appoint an attorney to represent you, since I'm releasing you on a signature bond, you'll just need to sign a waiver for your preliminary hearing, and then you'll get your next court date in the mail.
Okay.
All right?
All right.
Thank you, sir.
Okay.
All right, Timothy Smith. And after Mr. Smith will be Zahir Strauss.
No, that was, hold on, Judge. Other person, who you just did, Judge?
Daniel Santos.
That guy's out the bond, Judge. Brought it out.
Oh,
This is that, who you was talking to was Timothy Smith.
Yeah.
oh, well, let me do him again.
Okay, so, yeah, Santos already bonded out.
Okay, well, they just sent me a lot of paperwork that people had already bonded out.
Yes.
I didn't know. All right, so you're Timothy Smith?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, so you're charged with simple, I'm sorry, I had the wrong file in front of me, the wrong paperwork. You're charged with simple battery. Your bond is $4,000. You have a special condition to stay away and have no contact with Tommy King, and also not to violate any laws while you're out on bond.
Okay.
Waive the formal reading of your charges, or do you want me to read your warrant?
Read me the warrant.
Okay, it says on June 18th, 2020, in Clayton County, Georgia at 9521 Margaret Lane in Jonesboro, said offender did cause physical harm to the victim, Tommy King, by pushing the victim. To wit, the offender did push the victim away from the residence in my presence. The offender and victim are brothers and lived together in the residence. All right. You think you can post your $4,000 bond?
No, ma'am.
All right. Did you want to waive your preliminary hearing?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. So they will have a waiver form for you to sign, and then you'll be excused to go back with the deputy.
And when I waive my preliminary form, what that mean?
Your case will go to state court, and you'll probably get a hearing date in state court in probably a couple of weeks.
So if I post bond, what does that mean?
If you post bond, that hearing will be waived, and you'll get your next court date in the mail.
Okay, let me see, can I post bond there?
Okay. Okay, Zahir Strauss. And after Mr. Strauss will be Tyree Williams.
That's a female. No.
Is it?
Oh.
No, see, I did all the females except for that one person.
We
That's
got,
good one.
we got.
Okay. You're Mr. Strauss?
Yes.
All right, good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon.
You are charged with theft by receiving stolen property. Your bond is $7,500. You have a special condition not to violate any laws while on bond.
Yes.
Sir, do you waive the formal reading of your charges or do you want them read to you?
You can read them to me.
All right. 680 Lamar Hutchinson Parkway. Said offender did commit the offense of theft by receiving stolen property when he received or retained stolen property, which he knows or should know is stolen, to wit, on June 18th, 20. Mr. Strauss had in his possession a 2019 Honda Accent Georgia tag RQM 9908. The vehicle was confirmed on GCIC NCIC as stolen. This did happen inside the city of Riverdale, Clayton County, Georgia. During a recorded interview, Strauss advised he knew the vehicle was stolen. All right, I've appointed an attorney to represent you. Do you believe you can post your bond, sir?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, and sir, your preliminary hearing is set for July 27th at 8 o'clock in courtroom 203. Thank you, sir.
Come on.
All right, Tyree Williams. All right, hold on just 1 second, sir. All right, after Mr. Williams will be Gideon Ayerte. That's the starting today's calendar for Gideon Ayerte. Mr. Williams, you're charged with theft by shoplifting. You have a $2,000 bond on that charge. Crossing the guard line with drugs, gun, or alcohol, or a weapon. Your bond is $5,000 on that charge. You have a special condition not to return to or go upon the premises located at the CVS at 22 Upper Riverdale Road in Riverdale. Also not to violate any laws while you are out on bond. Sir, do you waive the formal reading of your charges or do you want them read to you?
You can read them.
All right. The probable cause affidavit indicates on June 18th, 2020 in Clayton County at 22 Upper Riverdale Road, said offender did, passing all points of sale, the offender did take 3 items from the victim, CVS worth $30.35, deodorant, hot fries, and sunglasses outside of the incident location without paying for the items. The complainant observed the offender taking items and the video from surveillance was turned into evidence. That on June 18, 2020, Clayton County, Georgia at 9157 Terra Boulevard in Jonesboro, said offender did enter the jail with a green knife in a sock in his right leg on the inner portion of his leg, discovered by the corrections officer in intake during his search. This incident occurred at 9157 Terra Boulevard in Jonesboro, Clayton County. Correction officers R. Johnson found the knife. All right, sir, do you believe you will be able to post your bond? All right, I've appointed an attorney to represent you. Your preliminary hearing is set for July 27th at 8 o'clock in courtroom 203. Thank you, sir. Gideon Ayerte.
Yes, ma'am.
Am I pronouncing your last name correctly?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. So you are charged with simple battery, family violence. You have a $4,000 bond on that charge. Driving on a suspended or revoked license, $1,500 bond. Special condition to stay away and have no contact with Zuleshka Burgos Aponte. Also not to violate any laws while on bond. Sir, do you waive the formal reading of your charges or do you want them read to you?
You can read them to me.
All right. The probable cause affidavit indicates on June 19th, 2020 in Clayton County, Georgia at I-65 southbound at Anvil Block Road. Said offender did commit the offense of driving while suspended, revoked when he was operating a 2006 Audi A6 traveling southbound on I-675 at Anvil Block Road. Traffic stop was conducted and it was later determined through GCIC dispatch advising that his driver's license was suspended due to active suspensions, most recent license cancellation. Incident occurred in Clayton County. It also indicated that you were a wanted person. On June 15th, 2020 at 790 Dixon Road, apartment 15 in Jonesboro. Defendant did commit the offense of simple battery, family violence against the state of Georgia. And that said defendant did intentionally make physical contact of an insulting and provoking nature with the victim, Ms. Zuleshka Burgos Aponte, when he pushed her with open palms into a baby bed, causing the victim to have minor red marks on her left cheek and right hand. All right. Sir, I'm going to appoint an attorney to represent you. Do you believe you'll be able to post your bond, sir?
Yes, what is my total bond, ma'am?
5,500. That's for both charges.
Okay, 5,500.
Do you want to waive your preliminary hearing?
No, yes.
All right. So they will have a waiver form for you to sign there, and then you'll be excused to go back with the deputy. Thank you, sir. Carlos Bailey, and after Mr. Bailey will be Ramirez Barranco. Are you Mr. Bailey?
Ma'am, I am.
All right. Good morning, sir. You are charged, good afternoon, I'm sorry, with obstructing an officer. Your bond is $1,500. You have a special condition not to violate any laws while on bond. Do you waive the formal reading of your charges or do you want them read to you?
Well, no, I'm all right. It's fine.
Okay. Do you think you'll be able to post your bond?
Ma'am, I have my debit card down in my property now, so I was trying to see if there's any way that I can get it sent to a bonding company or something, because I got rent to pay and I need to get out today, if possible.
Yeah, you would be able to contact the bonding company. It can be cash, bonding company, or a property bond.
Yes,
Do you want to waive your preliminary hearing?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so they will have a waiver form for you to sign, and then you'll be excused to go back with the deputy. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Ramirez Barranco, and after Mr. Barranco will be Antonio Brown.
You know?
All right. Are you Mr. Barranco? All right, sir. You are charged with dangerous drugs in a container. Your bond is $1,500. You have a special condition not to violate any laws while out on bond. Do you waive the formal reading of your charges or do you want them read to you, sir?
Like, can you explain the options?
Do you want your warrant read to you or do you know what you're charged with?
No, I don't know what I'm charged with.
All right, the probable cause affidavit indicates on June 19th, 2020 in Clayton County at 1400 Flat Shoals, that offender did commit the offense of pills not in original container when the offender, Mr. Barranco, was in possession of 8 metaxalone 800 milligrams that he had hidden in a silver container. Mr. Barranco came through a road safety check at 1400 Flat Shoals Road within the county of Clayton County, Georgia. Mr. Barranco had an odor of marijuana coming from the vehicle, therefore a vehicle search was conducted. The metaxalone was found in a silver container that was hidden in between the seat. The 8 pills were not in their original container, and Mr. Barranco did not have a prescription for them. Sir, do you believe you'll be able to post your bond?
I can pay the bond.
All right. Do you want to waive your preliminary hearing?
I'm saying, like, what does that mean?
The preliminary hearing would be July 28th in magistrate court, or you can waive that hearing and expedite your case to state court. Do you want to waive it?
Yeah.
All right, so they will have a waiver form for you to sign, and then you'll be excused to go back with the deputy. Thank you, sir. Antonio Brown, and after Mr. Brown will be Devin Brown. Are you Antonio Brown?
Ma'am?
All right, good afternoon, sir. You're charged with battery. Your bond is $4,000. You have a special condition to stay away and have no contact with Jonathan David Cook, and also not to violate any laws while on bond. Sir, do you waive the formal reading of your charges, or do you want it read to you?
Can you read it to me?
All right, the probable cause affidavit indicates on June 19th, 2020 in Clayton County, Georgia at 964 Benton Woods Drive in Forest Park. Said offender did commit the offense of battery when he intentionally caused substantial physical harm and visible bodily harm to the victim, Jonathan David Cook. The offender was witnessed striking the victim with a closed fist in the face after a verbal altercation. The victim had a small knot on his left side cheekbone with some swelling, along with a small laceration on his upper lip. The incident took place in Clayton County, Georgia. The victim wanted to press charges. All right, sir, I've appointed an attorney to represent you. Do you believe that you will be able to post your $4,000 bond?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, do you want to waive your preliminary hearing?
No, ma'am.
All right, it will be set for July 28th at 8 o'clock in courtroom 203. Thank you, sir.
All right.
All right, Devin Brown, and after Mr. Brown will be Julius Brown. Are you Devin Brown?
Ma'am.
Okay. Good afternoon, sir. You are charged with DUI, alcohol less safe. Your bond is $2,000, and also driving without a license. Your bond is $1,000 on that charge. You have a special condition not to violate any laws while you're out on bond. Sir, do you waive the formal reading of your charges, or do you want them read to you?
I waive.
All right, you waive them. All right, sir, I've appointed an attorney. Do you think you'll be able to post your $3,000 bond?
I don't know if today, maybe within a few days, maybe, but.
Okay. And sir, do you want to waive your preliminary hearing?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, so they will have a waiver form for you to sign. Then you'll be excused to go back with the deputy. Thank you, sir. All right, Julius Brown. And then next will be Willie Carmichael. All right, good afternoon, sir. You, Mr. Brown, Julius Brown?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, sir, you're charged with criminal trespass. Your bond is $1,500. You have a special condition not to violate any laws while on bond. Sir, do you waive the formal reading of your charges, or do you want them read to you?
I waive them.
All right. I'm going to appoint an attorney to represent you. Do you believe you'll be able to post your $1,500 bond?
Yes.
All right. And do you want to waive your preliminary hearing?
No.
All right. So it'll be set for July 28th at 8 o'clock in courtroom 203. Thank you, sir. All right, Willie Carmichael. After Mr. Carmichael will be John Kleins.
Judge, I'm sorry, Judge.
Yes,
Kleins is not gonna be able to go. I'll explain to you later about Kleins.
okay.
Okay.
I'll put this one to the side. All right, so after Mr. Carmichael, DeAndre Craig.
Great.
All right, Mr. Carmichael, you are charged with abandonment. Your bond is $1,500. You have a special condition not to violate any laws while on bond. Sir, do you waive the formal reading of your charges, or do you want them read to you?
I waive.
All right. And sir, I'm going to appoint an attorney to represent you. Do you believe you'll be able to post your $1,500 bond?
Yes.
All right. And would you like to waive your preliminary hearing?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. Thank you, sir. They'll have a waiver form for you to sign, and then you'll be excused to go back with the deputy. Thank you, sir. DeAndre Craig. After Mr. Craig will be Brandon Griffin. All right. Are you Mr. Craig?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. Good afternoon, sir. You are charged with driving on a suspended or revoked license. Your bond is $1,500. Violation of the Georgia Controlled Substances Act, $10,000 bond. Possession of a firearm during the commission of a crime, a $10,000 bond. You have a special condition not to violate any laws while you're out on bond. Sir, do you waive the formal reading of your charges, or do you want them read to you?
Wait.
All right. I'm going to appoint attorney to represent you. Do you believe you'll be able to post your bond?
Yes.
All right. Your preliminary hearing is July 27th at 8 o'clock in courtroom 203. July 27th at 8 in courtroom 203.
At what, excuse me, what time? 8 o'clock?
8 o'clock in the morning, 8 a.m.
Okay. And the
All right.
I want to know
The total was 21,500.
21,500.
All right, Brandon Griffin and then John Harris. Good afternoon. Are you Mr. Griffin?
Yes.
All right. Sir, you are charged with possession of marijuana less than an ounce. You have a $1,500 bond. I'm going to release you on your own recognizance and let you sign a signature bond on that charge. Do you waive the formal reading of your charges, sir, or do you want them read to you?
I waive.
All right. And I'm going to appoint attorney to represent you. And since I'm letting you out on a signature bond, I just need for you to sign a waiver of the preliminary hearing. And once you're released, you'll get your next court date in the mail.
Okay.
All right. Thank you, sir.
All right.
Come on, sir.
All right, John Harris, and after Mr. Harris will be Jalen Hayes. Are you Mr. Harris?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. Good afternoon, sir. You are charged with battery, family violence. You have no bond set because you're on 5 years probation in Gwinnett County Superior Court, case number 17B02242. You have a special condition to stay away and have no contact with Camry Green. Also not to violate any laws while you are out on bond. Sir, do you waive the formal reading of your charges or do you want them read to you?
Waiver. So I have
Right.
I have no bond now, ma'am. I can't bond out. Only way I can bond out is by my probation officer.
Yeah, I can't set a bond because you're on probation. So it'll be up to your probation officer whether or not they file to revoke that probation. And then, I'm going to appoint an attorney so they can kind of explain all that to you, but it's because you're on probation that I cannot set a bond at this time. Sir, do you want to waive your preliminary hearing?
No, ma'am.
Okay, I'm going to set that hearing for July 28th at 8 o'clock in courtroom 203. Thank you, sir. All right, Jalen Hayes. And after Mr. Hayes will be Micah Hill. All right, are you Mr. Hayes?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, good morning, sir. Good afternoon, I mean. All right, sir, you are charged with criminal trespass. Your bond is $1,500. You have a special condition not to return to or go upon the premises located at 20 Lake Harbin Road. Also not to violate any laws while on bond. Sir, do you waive the formal reading of your charges or do you want them read to you?
What does that mean?
Do you want me to read the probable cause affidavit from the officer, or do you know what you're charged with?
Huh? I'm sorry.
All right. Indicates on June 19th of 2020 in Clayton County, Georgia at 2070 Lake Harbin Road. Said offender did refuse to leave the leasing office after being asked to by management several times. Witnesses stated that he kept demanding sex from women at the location. Subject does not live at 2070 Lake Harbin Road. Sir, do you believe you'll be able to post your $1,500 bond?
Like after I got to the hospital, like they took me to Lake Harbin Road. Like,
Okay. And do you want to waive your preliminary hearing?
what's that?
I'm gonna set it for, your preliminary hearing will be July 28th at 8 o'clock in room 203. Thank you, sir. Micah Hill, and after Mr. Hill will be
So that's good, I think.
Kimon Jackson.
Oh,
All right, are you Mr. Hill?
yes, ma'am.
All right, good afternoon, sir. You're charged with expired registration, $500 bonds, violation of Georgia Controlled Substances Act, $10,000 bond, possession of a weapon during the commission of a felony, a $10,000 bond, and drug-related objects, a $1,000 bond. You have a special condition not to violate any laws while on bond. Sir, do you waive the formal reading of your charges, or do you want them read to you?
I want to read.
All right. The probable cause affidavit indicates on June 19th, 2020, in Clayton County, Georgia, at Godby Road at West Fayetteville Road, said offender did operate a 2004 gray Jeep Grand Cherokee, Georgia tag number S03033689 east of Godby Road when approaching a road safety check that was pre-planned and supervised by Sergeant Flaherty, primarily for license and registration verification. Upon making contact with Mr. Hill, I smelled an odor of burnt and unburnt marijuana and also checked vehicle tag and observed it was expired April 22nd, 2020. Upon a probable cause search of the vehicle, there was a yellow bag with a black digital scale, that marijuana residue on the scale, and 4 clear bags with green leafy substance suspected to be marijuana, and 1 rolled marijuana cigarette that was located in the center console, and numerous clear sandwich bags that are used to package for marijuana sales. The weight of all the green leafy substance suspected to be marijuana came up to 74.5 grams. Upon further search of the vehicle, a firearm was discovered, which was a Springfield SD 9mm. It has a serial number, located between the driver's seat and center console. This incident occurred in unincorporated Clayton County. Sir, do you believe you'll be able to post your bond?
Yeah, but some of them charges not real.
All right, sir, your preliminary hearing is going to be July 27th at 8 o'clock in courtroom 203. Thank you, sir.
At 8 o'clock?
Yep, July 27th. All right, Kimon Jackson, and after Kimon Jackson will be Keywan Johnston. Are you Mr. Jackson?
Well,
All right, sir, you are charged with theft by shoplifting. Your bond is $6,000. You have a special condition not to return to or go upon the premises located at Hibbett Sports at 3056 Anvil Block Road in Ellenwood. Also not to violate any laws while on bond. Sir, do you waive the formal reading of your charges, or do you want them read to you?
I waive.
All right. And sir, I've appointed an attorney to represent you. Do you believe you'll be able to post your $6,000 bond?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. And your preliminary hearing is set for July 27th at 8 o'clock in courtroom 203. Thank you, sir. Kewan Johnson, and then Mantonia Johnson. Antonia. All right, are you Mr. Johnson? Kewan?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. Good afternoon, sir.
How you doing?
You are charged with theft by shoplifting. Your bond is $2,000. Driving on a suspended revoke license, $1,500. Obstructing an officer, $1,500. You have a special condition not to violate any laws while on bond. Sir, do you waive the formal reading of your charges, or do you want them read to you?
I waive.
All right. Sir, I've appointed an attorney to represent you. Do you believe you'll be able to post your $5,000 bond?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, and let me see. Do you want to waive your preliminary hearing?
No.
All right, it will be set for July 28th at 8 o'clock in courtroom 203. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Montonio Johnson. And then next will be Michael Key. All right, you, Mr. Johnson. All right, good afternoon, sir. You're charged with simple battery, family violence. You have no bond set at this time because you're on 7 years probation in Clayton County Superior Court. You have a special condition to stay away and have no contact with Sarika Bell. Also not to violate any laws while you're out on bond. Sir, do you waive the formal reading of your charges, or do you want them read to you?
I waive my reading of my charges.
Okay. And sir, I've appointed an attorney to represent you. Would you like to waive your preliminary hearing?
Can you explain that to me, please?
The preliminary hearing will be set July 28th, or you can waive it and you get a court date in state court in probably about a couple of weeks. Today is June 20th.
So would I get in court fast?
You'd be in court faster if you waive the preliminary hearing. You'll get a court date in state court.
How many days?
I can't tell you the exact number.
7 to 10 days? But I won't get no bond. I won't get no bond if I wait.
Well, you don't have a bond anyway because you're on probation.
But it's a misdemeanor.
But you're on probation and you committed a battery.
So I got to get in touch with my probation officer to get a bond?
Yeah, because they may file a warrant to revoke your probation.
So
Okay, so your preliminary hearing, and I've appointed an attorney to represent you so they can explain all of that. Do you want to waive your preliminary hearing, or do you want to have your preliminary hearing July 28th?
I understand. That's what
She explained it earlier.
I was way back there in the back and people was talking. I couldn't hear.
Okay, sir, if you waive it, then you'll get a court date in state court, probably within a couple of weeks. So do you want your hearing in state court in a couple of weeks, or your preliminary hearing in magistrate court on July 28th? All right, I'm gonna set it for July 28th at 8 o'clock in courtroom 203. Thank you, sir.
I'll waive it.
Step this way, son. Step this way.
You said when?
Once you want to waive the hearing, sir?
Yes, ma'am, because I'm trying to get out
Put the
fast.
pen down.
All right, so they will have a waiver form for you to sign. Thank you, sir. Bill Key. And then after Mr. Key will be Roderick McKinney. All right, good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon, ma'am.
Sir, you are charged with DUI, alcohol, less safe. Your bond is $2,000. License not on person and failure to maintain lane. After reading the warrant, I did not find probable cause for those two charges, so I dismissed them. So you only have the DUI and your bond is $2,000.
Yes, ma'am.
You have a special condition not to violate any laws while on bond. Do you waive the formal reading of your charges or do you want them read to you?
I'll waive that.
All right, and I've appointed an attorney to represent you. Do you think you'll be able to post the $2,000 bond?
I'm not for sure now, but I'll try, ma'am. I gotta make some.
Okay. And do you want to waive your preliminary hearing?
Yes, I do.
All right, so they'll have a waiver form for you to sign, and then you'll be excused. Thank you, sir. Roderick McKinney, and then Roderick Reynolds. All right, are you Mr. McKinney?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, good afternoon, sir.
All right.
All right, sir, you are charged with driving on a suspended or revoked license, a $1,500 bond, and no insurance, a $1,000 bond. You have a special condition not to violate any laws while on bond. Do you waive the formal reading of your charges or do you want it read to you?
What's the former?
Like I will read the whole probable cause affidavit that the officer filled out, or do you think you know what you're charged with?
That's fine. Yes, ma'am. I need to know it.
Okay, on June 19th, 2020 in Clayton County at 1400 Flat Shoals, said offender did commit the offense of suspended license when the offender information was checked through Clayton County Communications, which confirmed his license was suspended in all states but Alabama for failure to appear. The state of Alabama gave Mr. McKinney a hardship license where he is only able to drive in Alabama. Mr. McKinney did commit the offense of no insurance when Mr. McKinney's vehicle information was checked at a road safety check at 1400 Flat Shoals Road. The vehicle information was checked through Clayton County Communications, which confirmed the vehicle did not have valid insurance. Mr. McKinney could not verify any insurance coverage. Sir, do you believe you'll be able to post your $2,500 bond?
Yes, ma'am. I have to make a call.
Okay. And do you want to waive your preliminary hearing?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, they will have a waiver form for you to sign and then you will be excused. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
All right, Roderick Reynolds, and after Mr. Reynolds will be Angel Sanchez. Are you Mr. Reynolds?
I'm Slayton.
Reynolds is done.
Roderick Reynolds.
He's gonna be done with the female in medical, Judge.
Okay, Angel Sanchez.
Okay.
And after Mr. Sanchez will be Malik Slayton. All right, good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon.
All right, sir, you are charged with violation of the Georgia Controlled Substances Act. Your bond is $20,000. You have a special condition not to violate any laws while on bond. Sir, do you waive the formal reading of your charges or do you want them read to you?
You could read them to me.
All right, the probable cause affidavit indicates on June 19th, 2020, in Clayton County, Georgia, at 4400 North Terminal Parkway in Forest Park. Said offender did commit the offense of possession of a controlled substance, marijuana, when he brought into Georgia, Atlanta Hartsfield Jackson International Airport, 7 pounds of suspected marijuana. The suspected marijuana was packaged in vacuum sealed plastic bags and concealed in a roller suitcase. The vacuum sealed bags containing suspected marijuana was located in the offender's luggage, which was in his immediate possession. The green in color hard roller suitcase had a Delta bag tag labeled with the name Angel Sanchez and tag number 50067014448. The offender traveled from San Francisco, California to the Atlanta Hartsfield Jackson International Airport via Delta Flight 713 on June 19, 2020. Clayton County Police Officer J. Thomas K-9 gave a positive alert for the odor of narcotics on the offender's roller suitcase. Officers observed the offender take possession of the roller suitcase from Carousel 8. Law enforcement made contact with the offender who gave consent for a search. officers discovered a total of 6 vacuum sealed plastic bags containing 7 pounds of marijuana in the roller suitcases. This offense occurred in Clayton County, Georgia. I've appointed an attorney to represent you. Do you believe you'll be able to post a $20,000 bond?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, your preliminary hearing is July 27th at 8 o'clock in courtroom 203. If you bond out before then, you'll get your next court date in the mail.
Yeah, thank you.
All right, thank you, sir. Malik Slayton, and after Mr. Slayton will be Jaquez Spinks. You're Mr. Slayton?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. Good afternoon, sir. You are charged with theft by taking. Your bond is $10,000. You have a special condition not to violate any laws while on bond. Sir, do you waive the formal reading of your charges or do you want them read to you?
Man, you said my money 10,000.
Yes, sir. Do you waive the formal reading of your charges or do you want them read to you?
You can read them to me, please.
Right, the warrant indicates on February 9th, 2020 at 2050 Southampton Road in College Park, you did commit the offense of theft by taking against the state of Georgia, and that said defendant did take property, a black in color 2009 Infiniti G37 bearing Georgia tag XJU272, the property of Erwin Jefferson with a value of $1,500.01 or greater, to wit, Malik Terrell Slayton was captured on video entering Erwin Jefferson's vehicle along with 2 other unidentified male subjects. After the subjects entered the vehicle, they drove off in the victim's vehicle. All right, I've appointed an attorney to represent you. Do you believe you'll be able to post your bond, sir?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, and your preliminary hearing is going to be set for July 27th at 8 o'clock in courtroom 203. Thank you, sir. Jaquez Spinks, and then after Mr. Spinks will be Nicholas Taylor or Zy Nicholas Taylor. All right, are you Mr. Spinks?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, good afternoon, sir. You have a tinted window violation, charge $500 bond, violation of the Georgia Controlled Substances Act, $5,000 bond, possession of marijuana, 1 ounce or less, $1,500 bond. You have a special condition not to violate any laws while on bond. Sir, do you waive the formal reading of your charges or do you want them read to you?
Read to me.
All right, the probable cause affidavit indicates on June 19th, 2020 in Clayton County at 1400 Flat Shoals, while operating a Toyota Camry bearing Alabama tag 43JR597, did enter a planned and approved road safety check at 1400 Flat Shoals Road with a dark window tint. When retrieving the driver's license from the window, I was overcome by the strong and apparent odor of marijuana. A search of the vehicle led to the discovery of 9 oxycodone hydrocodone pills wrapped in a piece of paper, which was found in a space under the dashboard. I also observed 13.8 grams of marijuana located in a white plastic container, which was found in the arrestee's book bag. All right. Sir, I've appointed an attorney to represent you. Do you believe you'll be able to post your $7,000 bond?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, your preliminary hearing is July 27th at 8 o'clock in courtroom 203. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
All right, Mr. Taylor, and then will be James Thornton. All right, are you Mr. Taylor?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. Good afternoon, sir. You are charged with simple assault. You have no bond set at this time because you're on 12 months probation in Clayton County Superior Court. You have a special condition to stay away and have no contact with Jonathan Cook. Do you waive the formal reading of your charges or do you want it read to you, sir?
I want it read to you.
All right, the probable cause affidavit indicates on June 19th at 964 Benton Woods Drive in Forest Park, said offender did commit the offense of simple battery by placing another Jonathan Cook in reasonable apprehension of immediately receiving a violent injury. The offender was observed by Officer Wilson, whom was recording on her body-worn camera to approach the victim in a threatening and provoking manner, making statements that another family member should have beat his ass. The offender had his arms up towards the victim and lowered them with closed fists before Officer Wilson had to separate him. Both victim and offender lived together. All right. I've appointed an attorney to represent you. Do you want to waive your preliminary hearing?
I don't know what that means.
Your preliminary hearing will be set for July 28th, or you can waive that hearing to get a sooner court date in state court in probably about 2 weeks.
Yeah, I would like to do that.
Okay, so they will have a waiver form for you to sign, and then you will be excused to go back with the deputy. Thank you, sir. James Thornton, and after Mr. Thornton will be Jonathan Watkins. You, Mr. Thornton?
Yes, ma'am. How are you?
I'm good, thank you, sir. Sir, you are charged with aggravated assault with a deadly weapon. You have no bond set at this time. You have a special condition to stay away and have no contact with Darnell Dixon and not to violate any laws whenever you do get a bond and are released. Sir, do you waive the formal reading of your charges or do you want them read to you?
Can I have them read to me? This was a domestic, okay, say no.
Okay. All right, so the warrant indicates on February 11th, 2020 at 529 Charlotte Square, apartment E in Jonesboro, that this defendant committed the offense of aggravated assault with a deadly weapon when said accused did make an assault upon the victim, Darnell Dixon, with a pocket knife, which when used aggressively can result in great bodily harm. The offender cut the victim on his right, causing a severe laceration. These events took place during an altercation between the two at 529 Charlotte Square, apartment E in Jonesboro. All right. The victim is the live-in boyfriend of the offender. All right. I've appointed an attorney to represent you. Your preliminary hearing will be July 27th at 8 o'clock in courtroom 203. Thank you, sir.
203. Okay, thank you.
Next will be Jonathan Watkins, and after Mr. Watkins will be Sheridan Wilson. All right, you, Mr. Watkins?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, good afternoon, sir. You are charged with possession of marijuana, 1 ounce or less. You have a $1,500 bond. I'm going to release you on your own recognizance and let you sign a signature bond. You will have a special condition not to violate any laws while you're out on bond. You understand that, sir?
Correct.
All right. Do you waive the formal reading of your charges or do you want them read to you?
You can read it to me.
All right, the probable cause affidavit indicates on June 19th, said offender did have in his possession a small bag of a green leafy substance believed to be marijuana. The total weight, 15.3 grams. This occurred in Clayton County, Georgia. I've appointed an attorney to represent you. And since I'm releasing you on a signature bond, I need for you to just sign a waiver of the preliminary hearing and you'll get your next court date mailed to you later.
Okay.
All right, thank you, sir. Sheridan Wilson. All right, you, Mr. Wilson.
Hello.
All right, good afternoon, sir. You are charged with a red light violation. And that's a $500 bond. And then violation of the Georgia Controlled Substances Act for possession of cocaine is a $5,000 bond. So you have a special condition not to violate any laws while you are out on bond.
Okay.
Sir, do you waive the formal reading of your charges or do you want them read to you?
I don't need them read.
All right, and sir, I've appointed an attorney to represent you. Do you believe you'll be able to post your bond?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, And your preliminary hearing is set for July 27th at 8 o'clock in courtroom 203.
You said,
July 27th at 8 in courtroom 203. Thank you, sir. All right, I have those 3 people left in medical. I also have 3 fugitives.
Yes, ma'am.
So do you all have, which ones did you want me to do next?
The 3 fugitives?
The 3 fugitives?
Yeah.
All right. Now, are they all in the same place? Like, can I talk to them at the same time?
Yes, come on.
Give us 1 second and yes, ma'am. 1 second.
Okay.
Come on up, fella.
Thank you, sir.
Just right there.
Good morning, Bill.
Good morning. What's your name, sir?
First name Jackson, last name Eustachi.
Okay. Jackson Eustachi and
Andre Block.
Andre Blocker. Then I'm looking for a Marty McElroy.
Yes, ma'am. He's coming. He's in a wheelchair. We're rolling him down.
Okay.
Don't move over in the middle, so.
All right. Good afternoon. You are all charged with being a fugitive from justice. You have no bond because you are wanted by another jurisdiction. All right. Let me, Jackson, how do you pronounce your last name?
Eustache.
Estache?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Let me see. It says you are wanted by the St. Lucie County Sheriff's Office for violation of probation for a 3rd-degree grand theft auto, a felony, and they wish to extradite you back on that charge. All right. And then Mr. Blocker
Yes, ma'am.
says you are wanted by St. Is this the same place?
Yes, ma'am. St. Lucie County.
St. Lucie County Sheriff's Office, Fort Pierce, Florida, for the charges of sale, manufacture, delivery, or possession with the intent to sell, manufacture, or deliver cocaine, possession of cocaine, and has the warrant number, and they also wish to extradite. So you said this is the same exact county?
Yes.
That, I don't think that has ever happened when that's funny that y'all got arrested at the same time. And Mr. McElroy, you are wanted by the Mississippi Department of Corrections in Jackson, Mississippi, for a probation violation on a past forgery charge. And it has the warrant number, and they wish to extradite you back on the charges. So this is what's called an extradition hearing. You have all of the rights that I explained in the very beginning. You have the option of voluntarily returning back to the respective state or contesting extradition. So if you voluntarily return, that state will have 10 business days to come pick you up. And if they don't come pick you up, then we'll release you from our jail. All right. If you want to contest extradition, you can do so. I'll appoint an attorney to represent you. We can hold you in our jail up to 90 days while you're waiting for the extradition hearing. You won't be able to contest your innocence or guilt because the case isn't here in Georgia, but you can contest 4 things. 1, whether the extradition documents are in order on their face, whether you are charged with a crime that actually exists in the demanding state, whether you are the person named in the request for extradition, and whether you are in fact a fugitive from justice. So let me start with you, Mr. Eustache. Do you want to voluntarily return back to Florida?
First of all, the owner, I've been sitting here for 46 days. I signed it already. I got proof right there. I've been signed it already. And they've been lying to me. That's what I say. I'm glad I'm here. This is it. I signed it from May 12. It's right here.
You signed it on May 12th. I don't know why they brought you back today. I don't know if it's something different. The only thing that I can say, you may want to consult an attorney. The only thing that's been going on sometimes, and I have no control over it, like in Georgia, we have an emergency, what do they call it? Our courts are closed. So like even with this hearing, usually it would be at the courthouse or doing it on Zoom. So different states have different things, and a lot of places are closed because of the coronavirus. So you may want to consult with an attorney. That's the only, that could be, I don't know if that's it, but that is causing a lot of complications. Some states aren't even doing hearings like the video hearings that we're doing now. So some things are just really closed. So I don't know, but I would say that you would want to consult an attorney. And so if you've already signed the waiver, you may want to sign it again today. Yeah, if not, I will put that on here that you already signed. You said on May 12th?
Judge, it's the same warrant number.
The same thing.
It's basically the same charge, but it's dated back May 12th, 2020 of this year. So he's signing the same thing again.
And they tell me they're gonna let me go, and I'm still sitting here, and I burn out already. It's been over 5 months. The one, my wife called. They said they're not gonna come in because of the coronavirus. I understand, but why should I pay for the consequences right now? I've been sitting here, and I just lost my mother. I hope you understand my situation, the owner. They can waive that.
Right, I do understand. I will let our chief judge know that you already signed it out. There's nothing that I can do at this point because I'm not Florida, so I don't know, what they're doing, and I don't know what their state's emergency order. So we get an emergency order from our chief judge about every 2 weeks where everything is on hold. All statutes of limitations or things that you have to file, all time limits are on hold because of this coronavirus. So this is just something unprecedented. So I don't know what other states, what their positions may be or different things like that. So you may want to contact maybe an attorney in that specific county. That's the only thing I can tell you. I can't give you any legal advice from the bench, and I don't know what the other states, what their situations are. So let me go to you, Mr. Blocker. Do you want to voluntarily return to Florida?
Yes.
Have you already signed a waiver?
No, ma'am.
Okay, so they will have a waiver form for you to sign. And like I said, we're in the middle of this pandemic, so I'm not sure, but they, once everything is fine, they should be coming to pick you up from our jail. All right? Thank you, sir. And then Mr. McElroy, do you want to voluntarily return back to Mississippi?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so same thing. They're gonna have a waiver form for you to sign and let Mississippi know so that they can come here to pick you up from our jail. All right, thank you, sir. All right.
Judge, we'll be heading down to medical.
Okay, and you have all 3 people there, the last 3 people?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Judge, can you hear us?
He kind of doesn't have on any clothes, so,
Stop video.
you know, we're on YouTube.
But he can hear you.
He got to put on something.
It's off, the camera's off.
Okay, who was that?
That's Mr. Yeah, there you go, Reynolds.
Mr. Reynolds, all right. Roderick Reynolds, you are charged with interference with government property. Can you hear me?
Say yes.
Okay, the bond is $7,500. Special condition not to violate any laws while out on bond. The warrant indicates on June 16th, 2020 at 9157 Terra Boulevard, the defendant did knowingly, willfully, intentionally, and without authority cause damage to the sprinkler in Housing Unit 1, Cell 1206, being the property of Clayton County Sheriff's Office, going to appoint an attorney to represent him. And the preliminary hearing is set for July 27th at 8 o'clock in courtroom 203. And that's it for Mr. Reynolds.
All right, now we're gonna roll down to the female.
Okay, Latasia Goodrum.
Yes.
Okay. Are you able to turn the video on for Ms. Goodrum?
Judge, we got Ms. Goodwin.
Okay, are you able to turn the video on or?
It's on.
All right, Ms. Goodrum,
Stand
you
up.
are charged with criminal trespass. Your bond is $1,500. You have a special condition not to violate any laws while out on bond. The probable cause affidavit indicates that on June 19th of 2020 in Clayton County, 20035 Mount Zion Road in Morrow, that you did remain in the area after being given a criminal trespass warning from Nathaniel McCrary. This disturbed the customers as the offender yelled at them as they walked by. This occurred in Clayton County. You have a special condition not to violate any laws. While you're out on bond, I'm going to appoint an attorney to represent you. And your preliminary hearing is set for July 28th at 8 o'clock in courtroom 203. Thank you, ma'am.
Hold on, baby. Melody, can the judge listen? No,
Judge, we told you about Klein, correct?
I gave you that time.
Okay, so I think I have John Kleins. That was the last person that was left.
John Klein defecated all over himself, so we're gonna have to do that one later.
Take me away.
Can you put him on tomorrow's calendar?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Oh, fuck your friend. And then they.
Yeah, and he has I'll go ahead and send his paperwork so that you all can give it to him because he has a $5,000 bond. So maybe later he can sign it. If not, he can go on tomorrow's calendar. But I'll send the paperwork in so they can put his bond in the system.
Okay.
So that's everybody, right?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, you all have a good day. Bye.